What's up, everybody? This is a quick tip if you're doing a motor mount install on a GTO like I just did. I've got my 06 right here, and I just put the Revshift black polyurethane ones that have the same feel as rubber, but they're made out of poly. And there's one issue I ran into. So the issue that I ran into was as I was jacking it up, the motor was coming up like this. Right side was coming up perfectly fine. The left side wouldn't come up high enough for me to slip the motor mount out through the bottom. And the reason for that is because of that bracket right there. It's like a chassis bracket, connects from the left side of the car back to the main part over there. And because of that bracket, I couldn't get the header past it. I mean, it's probably got maybe a ½ inch of space as it sits. There's 4 13mm bolts. You can kind of see there past the spark plug wiring. That's 2 of them, and then the other 2 sit down here behind these ABS wires. They're super hard to get to. But if you can get a 13mm ratcheting wrench on them, you could take that bracket off, and then the engine will come up exactly how it should be. You can slide it out. And this is what the nuts look like that I took out. They were super rusted on. They sit right next to the header, so they get super hot. It was so hard to get them off. They fought me the entire way. So I went ahead and replaced the hardware. I got 5/16 nuts and some 5/16 locking washers so they don't vibrate out. I'm gonna replace that hardware, so hopefully they should go on a lot easier than they came off. If you want a full guide on how to do this, Spice Red GTO on YouTube has a great video, step-by-step, exactly how to do it. This won't be a step-by-step. There's just one snag that I ran into that he didn't cover in his video. And I think the reason I ran into this and he didn't is because I have Kooks headers. I don't know if he has those or not, but because I have aftermarket headers, I think I ran into this issue. Okay, so I'm under the car and I decided to give you guys a little peek into how I get this on and off. These little 13mm bolts, they're super stubborn. Even going on with the new hardware, they're fighting me every inch of the way. So what I've got going on here is a ratcheting 13mm wrench on the nut. You got to get started by hand or else it won't fit. As you can see, the clearance is like basically nothing. Get that nut on, slip your ratcheting 13mm wrench on, and it fights so hard that you got to do the double wrench trick where you kind of take another 13, loop it around, and then you've got all the leverage you need. I did the same thing getting them off. Thought they were going to be easier coming on with the new hardware, but the studs are just rusted, corroded, stripped. I don't know, but it's going on. Just takes time. There's 2 that are up by the header, and then there's 2 more that are back here. These come on and off pretty easily. This is a better view of the bracelet I'm talking about. But up here, there's 2 more. I've got my ratchet on the bottom one, and the top one you have to access from the top, and that one is the hardest to get off. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. Okay, so the car's back on the ground, and this is the first time I'm riding in it. I might as well just go ahead and do a review for the Revshift polyurethane OEM feel motor mounts and transmission mount. They're the black ones. There's a difference for sure. My OEM mounts were torn in half. The engine ones were literally split in half. The transmission one was pretty cushy. I could bend it with my hands. Now that I've got these in and I'm on my first ride, there's a difference for sure. The car feels so much more planted. I feel like before, when I would step on the gas, the engine would kind of take that initial grunt and you wouldn't be like pushed back in your seat. Now, when you're rowing through first, second, third, when you get on the gas, you are pinned back in your seat. I mean, it's crazy how something just as simple as a mount can feel like a performance upgrade. So performance-wise, super happy. Noise, vibration, and harshness-wise, there's also more rumbles, tumbles, vibrations, whatever you want to call it. It's an increase for sure. There's some like interior rattles that I didn't have before that I now have. I feel little micro vibrations in the accelerator, in the shifter, in my butt a little bit. I've only put like maybe 2 miles on these, so hopefully that goes away eventually. But I can handle it. This isn't a luxury car. It's full bolt on at this point. It's definitely doable. I can't imagine going the full polys or even solid mounts. I mean, that would be insane. So for a daily driver car that maybe sees the track every now and then, I think these are the perfect motor mounts. I think over time they'll wear in and I'll get a little bit less of those vibrations. But I mean, this thing feels planted now. Before, when I would go over bumps, my shifter was just bouncing all over the place. And now when I go over them, I mean, it's just sitting in whatever gear it is. Overall, the install was probably like a 5 out of 10 for your average shade tree mechanic. I've never done anything too crazy, and I was able to get this done in about 3 hours, not factoring in one trip to the store to get those other fasteners. But yeah, this is awesome. I'm about to roll through some gears on this little twisty road. If you guys have any questions about the install or anything, let me know in the comments. Thanks, y'all.